If you ever had your name on a ballot, it's a lot, and there's a lot of pressure. And when you face areas that have been gerrymandered against you, and you know you're on the right side, and the numbers just don't always add up, but you continue to show up, you continue to take up space, there's a tipping point, guys, and we're in it right now. I'd like to introduce, I should have paused, I guess, there, but I failed public speaking. I did. My next speaker is Amy, and we've been working together for a few weeks now. Sister Cities Unite. They're from Cornwall. We met, it was Newburgh, Cornwall, and a couple of different people from different places. And we organized a beautiful protest and march in Newburgh, New York. And we've been working on next steps together. And so everybody, here is Amy. Here we go.
Okay, I have 4 pieces of gear to get through this. I have a sign, right? There you go. I have a mask that is wearing way too much lipstick. It's such a waste. Coffee. For fuel. Coffee and cream, baby. And I have next steps here. Okay, I'm not prepared for this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay. I am usually a leader, and a pretty good one. At work, I inspire. In my community across that river in Cornwall, I am a change maker. And at home, I guess you could say I set the tone. But today, I'm here and privileged to be a follower, and I'm going to correct that because the speaker, a few people before me, informed me that I am an accomplice, and I accept that. So I want to thank you first, Ali, for your lead in this event and for allowing us all a seat at this table. And so speaking of tables, I run a food tasting walking tour company in New York City. That is a food tasting walking tour company in New York City. We also have a food and farm tour in this region. We visit 4 farms, but we also bring people here to Beacon and to Newburgh to tell their stories and their rise, and of course to taste their food. So if you've never heard of a food tour, it's pretty neat. We taste amazing food from great chefs. You eat 8 delicious bites along the way. Over the course of a 3-hour journey, it's pretty cool, but as much as it is about the food, it's not really about the food. It's about the stories. Who's cooking that dish? What's their story? What's their special technique? How come they do it so much better than everybody else? And what's the immigrant journey tied to that dish? The heartbreak and backbreak needed to make this restaurant happen. It's about the migrant workers who strap a 40-pound bucket to their chest and climb up and down the shaky wooden ladder so you can eat that apple. It's about the stories. That's how we reach people. That's why we're 5-star rated and written better as Hamilton and best thing I've done in New York City and a life-changing experience. Not for the food, but for the stories. So I'm going to tell you one, and that is mine. It took me 46 years to realize the racist roots that I was born into. Don't get me wrong, my parents are Brooklyn, Bernie, Democrats, Obama supporters, and Trump haters. But they unknowingly spoke messages of hate in my household that I now would file under the category of racist. And to the white people in the audience, I share this next embarrassing story with you to encourage you to pinpoint and call out your own stories when you hear them in your house or when you hear them come into your head. You're here now, but reconciling your past is important. My family is from Brooklyn for 3 generations. But my family left Brooklyn while my mom was pregnant with me, and that was 1973. They left Brooklyn that particular year because the neighborhood was changing. That's the story I always heard. The neighborhood was changing. The neighborhood was changing only has one translation. The neighborhood changing was code for becoming more black. Families leaving Brooklyn to avoid busing, the white flight, became a careless but dangerous tagline to my life story. And I never understood the weight of what I was saying and how I was part of the problem until one night in July. On July 31st, 2019, during one of the many Democratic debates, you may remember them, Kamala Harris effortlessly schooled Joe Biden about racist policies and busing from the perspective of the girl on the bus. And she schooled me. And I was changed in the split of a second. That was the night I went from being a bystander to a participant. And I believe that the more you know your moment and can share it, the more this crowd can grow. At the end of that segment, you may remember, or tonight go home and watch the clip because it is a pleasurable experience. The white man she schooled, Joe Biden, opted to cut himself off mid-sentence. A defeated aggressor whitely waving his flag of surrender. And it was through her telling of her story, being the girl on the bus, that I finally understood a different version of my own story and corrected it to the rest of my family. So keep telling your stories and tell your stories at every inconvenient moment with every uncomfortable person. Tell them online waiting for coffee at the grocery store, at intermission at the theater. Tell them during the show if you have to. Through storytelling, I finally realized that I am part of this. This is not separate from me, and my story is interwoven here. I'm a victim of society's messages, but more than that, I am a perpetrator of society's messages until the moment I decide I am not. I also realize that I alone can fix this in my family, in my community. That I alone, along with you alone, along with us together, can actually change this one by one and march by march and action by action and put your money where your mouth is and call out violent aggressors and white moderates alike. I feel truly privileged. Privileged this time to be standing here with you, privileged to be given the opportunity to grow, privileged to do the work in my community and yours, privileged to know that beautiful Black people are leading me in this movement, and that feels really good. Thank you.